welcome back to another great episode of Just Be You podcast. I am joined today by a great individual who has developed a pretty cool tool for all my writers out there, because I kind of play in that area too. So when we met, I thought this could be a really good opportunity to make all my writers and my authors' lives so much simpler, because who doesn't want to live a much simpler life in 2023? So we're going to jump right into it. I want everybody to give a warm welcome for Cameron. How are you doing this afternoon?
Thank you so much, Delia. I'm really happy to be here. We have been working on Book Blaster for almost a year now, so I'm really excited to share the journey that we have taken with our software, but also just to talk about life and whatever else you want to ask me about. You
Yes.
just asked me right before if I saw the questions, and no, so this is all unscripted, unrehearsed, and I'm ready to get down.
Yes. So guys, it's we're gonna have a lot of fun. I know it. I feel it in my bones. But since you mentioned Book Blaster, please tell me, how was Book Blaster born? Like, are you a writer yourself? How did you think of this amazing tool?
That's a great question. So, to tell the story of how Book Blaster was born, I have to take it a step back to before the pandemic, if that's okay, David.
Hey, give it to us. Yes, let's hear it.
So, before the pandemic, I was working with a lot of chefs and local restaurants and businesses in the hospitality industry, primarily in the Twin Cities. But there was a one chef in particular named Justin Sutherland who was on season 16 of Top Chef, and so
Ah.
working with him put my career on a different trajectory, and I started to do big events like the Final Four and the Super Bowl. My name started to get around town and around the country as the person to call when you had a guerrilla campaign for food marketing, which was really cool and a lot of fun, a lot of really good uh, eats. But when the pandemic came and shut everything down, shut this entire space down, it was a humbling moment
Yeah.
because this world that I had become so comfortable with and come to love really was gone. But the good news was that a lot of people sat down during that time to either get serious about promoting their book or to finish their manuscript that they had lying around. So it was a opportunity for us to pivot our agency into working with authors, and also uh, helped that my partner had just finished publishing her first book, Start Ghetto. So it was
Nice.
a um, uh, wake up call to the opportunity that the self publishing industry was, because here was this group of people that really needed help marketing their books. It's one of the most painful and dreaded parts by many authors, the act of selling the book, not actually writing the book. A lot of authors are afraid that their books are just going to sit on the shelf. What if I write this book and no one reads it?
Yeah.
That's the fear that we understood, because most authors don't get that uh, they don't have a business system behind their books, and that's why their books don't sell. So most books don't sell, not because they're bad books. It's because there isn't a business infrastructure behind it to make the book sell. So if you have a book about um, raising a husky puppy,
Hmm.
chances are you have to target people who are either currently raising a husky puppy or at least
Right.
interested in doing so. So being able to put your book in front of the people who are specifically interested in it, and being able to collect information, email addresses being a great source of information so that you can reconnect with those people to either encourage them to purchase their book if you haven't, or to go leave you a review. Being able to own your audience and make somebody's phone vibrate when you have a new book coming out, or when you're doing a book signing event. All of that comes from having a business system in place that allows you to grow your audience as well as own your audience.
Yeah.
But that's where another problem shows its head, Dahlia, because you can have the best system in the world. And you asked if I wrote a book. So yes, I wrote a book called Bottomless Book Sales. So yes, it's a book about selling more books, but it's just a simple system to think about as an author or publisher to build a business system around your book. So the bottomless book sales method is create a optimized landing page for your book. So if the title of your book is, for example, Bottomless Book Sales, you should own bottomlessbooksales.com, and that should take you to a landing page. And that landing page should be focused on doing one thing, and that's selling your book. The next step is to bring targeted traffic to that landing page with paid ads. The most common and painful thing that I see authors doing is getting on social media and posting to their same friends and family day in and day out about their book. And chances are, one, they already know about your book. Two, they're not your target audience. So like the husky puppy example, and I'm biased because we have a husky puppy. And
hey, we love husky puppies.
All the tips and everything that are specific to us. But if your book has a specific audience and you're not reaching that specific audience, it's going to be very hard to grow your audience, right? Your actual own audience. And so lastly is to collect email addresses on that landing page so that you can grow your grow your audience, get more reviews, and get more sales. Most authors struggle to get more reviews, and it's very difficult to get reviews if you don't have a way to ask people for more reviews, right? It's hard to. It's the biggest reason why you're not going to get more reviews is because you don't ask people, but it's very hard to ask people for reviews if you don't have their contact information. So that's why it's very important to build a system where you can own your audience. So it's a three-step system. It's not complicated. The problem was still that it was tedious and hard to actually execute the bottomless book sales method. And if you don't have some basic marketing skills and some interest in it, then it's still kind of like, well, I don't really want to be doing this. And that's what we found when I ran a boot camp. I did, all types of trying to help authors to make them want to do this. But I just had to realize that, marketing is one of my things, and it's not going to be it's not going to be the case for a lot of people.
Right.
So we still wanted to find a way to help those authors reach their target audience and to help them execute the bottomless book sales method. So we said, well, what if we could use AI to implement this? And so that's what we did and what we started to work on. And what we initially thought Book Blaster, what would become Book Blaster would be was an internal tool for us to make our own agency more efficient.
Got it.
But as we started to build and grow and realize where AI was going, and this was ancient history like last year, but with how fast it was going and with the trajectory that it even showed, or that we were able to see back then, it was very clear that we were onto something much bigger. And we decided to go all in on Book Blaster, the tool and the software company that we are now.
Sweet. So you mentioned a couple of things in how Book Blaster was born that I just kind of want to go back to. First one is, how was it working with your partner during like the initial stages, like helping her set her own book up, was the dynamic okay? Because I know sometimes that can be a little challenging for people, working on like a similar project together. And I was just kind of wondering how that was. Were you open to her feedback, and just, was it fun? Was it not
Definitely,
pleasurable and stuff like that?
definitely. Well, that was already a tough time. I was on probation, let's say,
Okay.
relationship probation, and working my way back onto the field, trying to get some starting time back from the coach. Is all metaphors all over the place. But it was a tough time just across the board. There was a lot of uncertainty, and uh, it was um, my first pandemic. So,
Yeah, for most.
wasn't really sure what to do with my hands, but it's uh, the um, you're right that it is challenging, especially when you're doing anything um, creative or uh, uh, business and creative with someone
Yeah.
that you love. And I've worked on a book with my mom too. It
Nice.
holds true. Yeah, yeah, for sure. It holds true for any person that you're close to when you're bringing things like a creative project is the thing that you're going to be working on together. Um, but uh, marketing has always been something that comes pretty naturally to me and something that I've been fascinated with studying. So when Letitra is my partner's name, when Letitra finished publishing her first book, it was for me one of my love languages is marketing essentially. So
No.
that part is what comes natural to me, and what I really learned from her was the uh, discipline and the um, just kind of the mindset that it takes to publish a book. So that's kind of how that all worked out, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's sweet. So because you also mentioned that authors don't really market their book too often. So at what point should an author think about marketing their book? Because I've heard kind of like mixed responses, like from the time, the book is an idea, you should start marketing your book, or you should wait till you actually have maybe like a first chapter or even an outline to start talking about a book. So when is the best time to market the book?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, and I think the earlier the better. The For me, I started promoting bottomless book sales long before I really even knew I was going to write a book, if that makes sense. So
Okay.
the idea of bottomless book sales, the problem that the book solves, was something that first started as a workshop. It was the Bottomless Book Sales Workshop, and I started to sell uh, access to that. It was a pre-recorded session. I think it started as, well, I had to record it first of all, and then afterwards I sold the recording for like $37. And that was pretty much it. That was the entire business. I wasn't really sure where I was gonna go from there, but as I understood what a huge demand this was and what a huge need that authors had. That was what really pushed me to build more systems around it.
Okay, cool. So when, writers are using book blasters, how much content or how much marketing content can book blaster like handle? Is it just like, for instance, like a Instagram post or like a landing page? What is the full capacity of it?
Yeah, for sure. So with Book Blaster, our goal is to completely automate the bottomless book sales method. So you can build your landing pages. You can also create trailers, cinematic trailers that you can use as a part of your ad campaigns. The
Mhm.
whole idea is to create a campaign that can stop someone's while they're scrolling, whether it's on TikTok or Facebook, whatever else, and then you can convert them into your customer by way of your landing page. So the cinematic trailer generator helps you generate trailers. You also have mock-up generator so that you can create high fidelity mock-ups instead of having to do professional photo shoots for your books. This is a really quick way to let people know that they're buying a book right away. So if you post just the cover of your book as a two-dimensional graphic, sometimes it's not clear if it's a poster or a movie or what exactly it is. But by having a book mock-up, it's just one of those non-verbal, that's not the right word I want to say here, but it's a way to say a lot without actually using any words to say I'm selling a book just by having that image of a book. And Book Blaster can help you generate those in just a couple of clicks. And also finding your target audience. With where we're going next with our chatbot Ida, I forgot if we've mentioned Ida at all during this conversation, but
No, not
when
yet.
ChatGPT came out, when ChatGPT came out last November, December last year, it was a revolution, not really in technological or in the capacity. It wasn't like going from GPT-3 to GPT-4 so much as
Okay.
much as it was an interface change. So it was kind of this unexpected explosion of people being able to access GPT for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just kind of like this understanding that went off in people's minds from seeing the chat, excuse me, the chat interface. And so it still is crazy because I used it for, as long as ChatGPT has been out, and it took
Right.
me a while to for the light bulb to go off in my head that, oh wait, the natural language interface is what's really important here, and that's also something that had been really missing from Book Blaster to that point. So that is what gave us the idea to launch Ida, named after, of course, Ida B. Wells.
Yes.
And the purpose of Ida is to help our users through the process, not only of using Book Blaster, but of marketing their books. So instead of having to figure out which tool to use and when, it is much more of a guided and natural language process, like talking to a friend who's actually read your book and is also an expert in book marketing with the specific context of Book Blaster. So pretty cool.
Yeah, it sounds like it. So my question is, so as you're making the content within Book Blaster, is it kind of like a copy and paste situation where you're taking whatever the information, whatever was outputted by Book Blaster, and then putting it into something like, let's say, MailChimp, where you're trying to do like a email campaign? Are you like copy and pasting it into MailChimp, or is it kind of you have like a built-in email service within Book Blaster? Like how self-containing is Book Blaster?
That's a great question. And we are going towards having a completely self-contained system. That is the end goal. Where we are currently is you can generate your trailer, you can generate your landing page. Your landing page, for example, can be hosted on Book Blaster, and you can send traffic. There's a live link and everything, and point to Amazon or wherever you host your book sales.
Sweet.
Um, but where we still have work to do is in internal email automation, those other tasks that make Book Blaster really a one-stop shop. And I go back and forth with this daily. It's one of those things that's just like, um, we have aspirations to be a one-stop shop, but people have needs and books that they want to promote today.
Mm-hmm.
So it's that balance of how do we, because we know people that can do this, and we know
Right.
companies that specialize in each of the specific components of Book Blaster. Like building landing pages is not revolutionary.
Right.
Building ad campaigns is not revolutionary, but building these components into a one-stop shop that is contextualized for authors, that is revolutionary. And the way that we are uh, able to create value is not by creating new technologies, but it's by contextualizing existing technologies for people that can benefit from them, but don't necessarily understand how. That being said, I love to use a software called Walaxy for all of my email and LinkedIn automation needs. I totally recommend it for anybody watching this. But one of the things that I have struggled with transparently is we have a partnership tab that we are working on. We'll be releasing soon. Do we promote Walaxy as a partner? They've got a great affiliate program. It could be as easy as that. And they've already done a great job solving this problem to an extent. But the issue is, one, they're not specific for authors, and it's a whole other tool that that just it presents its own challenges. So it's the founders, or one of the founders' dilemmas. What will we do? What will we do well, and what will we trust a partner for, and in what capacity? What does that look like? So all that is to say, right now, Book Blaster is the place where you can generate your assets. Deploying those assets is something that we're working on building into the platform in the future, to various degrees. Our end goal is, if you can either take a picture of your book and we can gather all the information that way, we can scan front and back, it's fine, whatever. Or just type in your ISBN number, book link, whatever the bare minimum amount of information that you have about your book, or if you just want to type in, title, author description like that is now, and to be able to generate and execute in real time a marketing campaign for your book, so that you can essentially just tell Book Blaster, hey, this is my book. Let's make it sell. And to the best of marketing practice abilities, right? It's not magic. It's and it's not going to make anybody's book better than it actually is. Right. But to the extent that your book actually has a chance of selling and reaching its ideal audience, Book Blaster can and will constantly get better at helping you do that.
Yeah, I love it. So what are some of the things, because I know we're living in the age of AI and people have mixed opinions about AI. So what are like two things that you would want like our community to like really wrap their heads around, working with AI, as opposed to like fearing it for whatever reason it is that they have?
Yeah, that's a great question. I am not a lawyer, and I'm not a philosopher of AI. I am interested in how technology can help improve people's lives, but more specifically, I'm interested in how Black people can get a little bit more free. And with that, with those two things being considered, and with what like I initially said, with what I initially said, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a pundit, I'm not a philosopher. It is not my job to debate the camera. The camera is here, and painters are going to be upset. There's going to be debates. That's not what I'm here to do. Right. What I am here to do is to help as many people who want to understand what photography means and what this could look like, and what the difference between food photography and landscape photography and all these different emerging fields and mediums, what this means for us. That's where I like to focus my energy. And so there is a deep fear that a lot of people will have you buy into about AI and what this means for the future of jobs and work. But I believe that this is a moment in time where it's called the passion economy. And if you take everything that can be automated and outsourced, and automated and outsourced, and you take everything that will be uh, all the jobs that will be uh, uh, removed, whatever. Um, what's left is our passion, and the same automation, the same outsourcing, all the things that are taking jobs, and uh, however you want to take that.
Right.
But no one's job is being taken, and if you believe in a scarcity mindset and a scarcity culture, then that's what will be for you.
Right.
But if you see this as a moment where a shift in thinking towards abundant thinking and thinking of all the possibilities and problems that we face as opportunities to um, uh, live in your true purpose,
Mm-hmm.
then and to do that in a way that with what does that have to do with AI? The same technology that is making some jobs obsolete is making jobs possible that weren't possible. My job wasn't a job last year. We had to make this job up, but I wouldn't trade this and what we're working on every day for anything. So this isn't a moment to be afraid. This is a moment to embrace the possibilities of what if and who you really want to be. So I don't know if that was 2 points, but I think that's my
No,
that's my
it
answer
was
for that.
it was great. I heard what you were trying to say. I got it, and I'm sure everyone else did, because it just really was that simple. Um and my other question, I just drew a blank, but it's gonna come back to me. It's all right. What is dang it, I really lost my question. Um We're live, guys. I was like so into what he was saying that I just completely like checked out of my own question. I've been improving on my active listening skills. At least trying to. So here we go. Where would you, in your ideal world, where do you want to see Book Blaster in 5 years? What kind of impact do you see it making?
5 years. I That's a great question. Um, that's such a long time, especially in the world of AI technology
But
that
is it
we're
really a long time
it
away? Because that time flies, man. You start working on stuff, next thing you know,
it
you got four.
is it is and it isn't. The time itself is uh that's a constant variable, right? But it's
Yeah.
the what are um what's able to be accomplished in a day, what's able to be accomplished in a year, that is something that's getting exponentially faster. And Mid-Journey 5 just came out, I think 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago at this point, and people are already talking about Mid-Journey 6, and there's this moratorium they're talking about on bigger models. There are a lot of things that are happening and a lot of things that are moving. But then there's also a lot that's not changing. Authors
Right.
are going to still suck at selling their books, and something that's going to happen. More and more people are going to have the ability to publish their book and put out this type of content, but the ability to sell your book and the ability to connect with your ideal audience and also leverage that audience and maximize the value that you get. If you're familiar with Nipsey Hussle,
Mm-hmm.
whether or not you're a fan of his music or his politics, one of the things I really like is his business savvy.
Yeah.
And he talked about the proud to pay movement. And so if you can find 1,000 people who are willing to pay you $1,000, that's $1 million right there. And
Yeah.
that's in the grand scheme of things on a planet with 8+ billion, getting more crowded by the day people. If
Mm-hmm.
you can't find 1,000 people to provide $1,000 worth of value to, it doesn't have to be all at once. Not everybody got $1,000 just in their wallet to fork over for something. But depending on what it is, people will pay you $10 a month for 10 years, depending on what it is, but that's the same thing. You just got to find those people who are proud to pay.
Yeah. No, I get that. I was just telling one of my girlfriends that the other day she had an idea for something. She's like, "Oh, but I feel like everybody's doing it." I'm like, "Girl, there's 8 billion people on this planet, okay? You have a slice of those people, like the people that need to hear from you, and whatever product you're designing is for them. Just to hell with everybody else and do what is exciting to you, what you're passionate about, and the fact that that you have something that solves a problem for people will pay you. They just don't know
Exactly.
about it right now, so just talk about it and
Exactly.
everything else will just kind of like fall into place. um
Exactly.
so I hear that. And oh, this is my original question. So you had mentioned freedom, how you want Black people to be free. So how much time, compared to like traditional marketing, how much time does Book Blaster save like a writer in terms of like marketing and all that jazz?
Those are two different ideas, and I think it's an interesting way of looking at freedom, because I do think that um, you have to think about freedom to move, right? And that to move takes place in both time and space. And if
Mm-hmm.
you don't have freedom of time, then how free are you?
Right.
Um, so that is a great question. You can spend months if you know what you're doing, you can get things done a little. You can push things along. You can know how to set up a landing page. You can um, go hire someone. You can contract out if you do this. If you run a marketing agency in your spare time, it's kind of a no-brainer what to do as far as marketing your book. But if you don't, then it's essentially learning a completely new skill set. And so if you look at one of the biggest offerings that is out there and has been out there for authors to sell their books, it's
Mm-hmm.
training. It's not necessarily a tool that can just do this for you. You have two options. You can either hire an expensive agency, or you can figure out how to do it on your own. And both options pretty much suck. So um, it uh, uh, the freedom looks like being able to move through the world as yourself on your own terms. And, for some people, for a lot of people, I think that could and should start with a book. And being able to put that book in the hands of people who are like-minded and are willing to uh, uh, put 25 to $100 in your hand in exchange for that book, and then for whatever other value creation vehicles, whether that's you have a retreat once a year where you get all the people together in the east side of LA who also like blueberry muffins and have a husky puppy, like whatever it is, like you said, I love that what you say, you have a slice of this world, and whatever value you're willing to provide your slice of this world, that's kind of the magic of doing this. And that's really where I see the freedom. And it's not necessarily about I work 4 hours a week. And that is kind of an ideal on one side, the 4 hour work week, whatever else. I go on long walks whenever I want to. I guess that's part of the ideal. But more than anything else, I wake up every day and I feel excited to be working on what I'm working on. I don't feel like, oh, I can't wait to get off the clock, because the work that I'm doing makes me feel good. And so I think um, that's a kind of freedom too.
Yeah. No, I totally respect that because I'm in that space myself, and I know a lot of other people are in that space. So that's real. I take that. So one question that I've asked all my guests are, what do you like to do for fun? And I ask that because, I know part of the reason that we're on this whole entire planet is to serve and to help other people, but um it's important for you to take care of you. So what is it that you like to do for fun when you're not, talking about Book Blaster and just serving other people?
You know, in line with that last question, it really is fun. Like I really do enjoy the work that I do and like learning about this world that's just becoming.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I also really like to play chess. I like to read books. I like to listen to books. I like to cook. I like to do things that make me feel still. I've gotten into gardening recently, so
Nice.
um, and I have a husky puppy, so that's kind of like all my spare time right there. So
No, I love it. Well, Cameron, thank you again for being on the show. Where can people find you if they need help promoting their book?
we'll definitely check out Book Blaster. It's bookblaster.io. Personally, I'm retired. I don't work with clients anymore, but we'd love to have you on board as a early adopter user, and that way you can come to office hours. I'd love to help you out that way. But for me personally, I am interested in coming to speak at schools, to come to a chess tournament near you. If you want to grab a cup of coffee and talk about how we can change the world, my website is CameronClarkson.com. I got a blog there. I'm also on Medium and LinkedIn. So those are the best ways to reach out. And I'm always looking for great new connections like you, Daily. I really appreciate this.
Sweet. No, I loved having you on. Thank you again for sharing more about yourself and Book Blaster and how you just plan on revolutionizing the world. Love to hear it. And guys, I will see you on the next great episode. Catch us again. Well, catch me again Fridays at 2 p.m. And if no one's told you today, remember that you are strong, you are worthy, and you are enough. And I'll see you later. Bye.